Hello, ladies and gents. It's your host, Jordan Moore. Welcome to Flick of the Week. This episode is brought to you by Film Buff Apparel. Film Buff Apparel is basically a clothing line for filmmakers by filmmakers, and basically all of the profits, 100% of the profits, go towards making independent film projects. So if you want to support the film community, which I hope you do because you're listening to this show, then go buy a shirt. Follow them on Facebook. Check them out on Instagram. It's all Film Buff Apparel. And so tonight, our guests tonight are award-winning musician, in my eyes, Robby Creasey of Farewell My Love. They're a pretty cool band. I've done some of their music videos. I do videos for them, and I help, I hang out with them all the time. I'm basically a roadie. And Robby is a cool guy. He loves movies just like me, so I figured, hey, let's bring him on the show. Our second guest is Nick Drake. He's the creator of a page on Facebook called Movie Buff Reviews, and he has some pretty cool information about movies, a lot of the movies that we cover on this show, and hopefully he'll be on more episodes. But he's also the creator, producer, director of a documentary called Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Over. And basically it's bringing awareness to military suicide. And it can be found on GoFundMe. So if you want to support that cause and help it out, go check it out. It's called Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Over. So we got a really awesome show for you tonight, so I hope you enjoy it.
Wait, let me explain something to you. I'm the dude.
Which one is it? It's the one that said bad motherfucker.
Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
We're sending you back to the future.
Welcome to Flick of the Week. It's a real simple show. If you're listening already, then you probably already heard my first spiel in the first episode. But if not, if you're tuning in, it's a show about movies. We talk about movies. We go see movies and we break them down. And today, this episode, we're going to talk about Green Inferno, Mississippi Grind, Stonewall, and if we got time, Everest. But first, I want to see what you guys have been, what you've been watching lately. Let's break the ice. Robby, what have you seen lately? What kind of movies have you watched?
Lately, trying to think in the past couple of weeks. I've been.
What's the last thing? What's the last thing you were watching on TV?
The last movie I watched on TV was Inglourious Bastards. I actually sat down the other night, had a couple glasses and/or bottles of wine, and just threw it on because
okay.
It's on Netflix, and great. One of my favorite movies, all-time favorites.
I love Quentin Tarantino movies.
Seriously.
What about you, Nick?
The last thing I watched was the fourth installment of the Alien series, Alien Resurrection.
Yeah. Which
I think doesn't get as much credit as it should. It's not as good as the first two, but way better than the third and the Versus Predator movies and whatever that Danny Glover one was. I was watching it and I forgot how many people were attached to this. Joss Whedon, the guy who made Avengers, wrote it. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, that's real weird.
He's got his hands in everything. I must confess, the last thing and the most recent thing I've been watching is, ironically, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
There you go.
And Joss Whedon, yeah. So, but but I like it. It's good. It's got vampires.
Yeah. 27 seasons.
27 seasons. Yes, they've been going since the Land Before Time.
I haven't watched it in a while. Is she still hot?
Well, the show's over.
Oh. It's done.
It's been done.
So it's not going on anymore.
Two spin-off series. That I think was, if I'm not mistaken, the only successful show to be made off an unsuccessful movie.
Was Buffy the Vampire Slayer a movie?
Yeah, you remember David Arquette and the vampires flew really kind of like Peter Pan. There's
what?
Rose up and David Arquette's in the window hey, I'm a vampire, and then Donald Sutherland was the mentor character of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he's like, hey, Pretty much. You just sharpen a stick and stab vampires. Oh, and you're a cheerleader, so you got this.
That's funny. I didn't even know.
You don't remember that movie?
I've been watching the show
You're
with
kinda
my
lucky, I
girlfriend.
guess.
She forced me to, you know, she didn't really like force me like at gunpoint, but I mean pretty close. But she forced me at wooden stake point. It's like, you're gonna die a vampire's death. But she we so I was distracted by that. You know, I kind of grew up on Buffy as like just kind of seeing it in my periph with like family members. I grew up in a Brady Bunch house for the most part. So
Kinda like Buffy.
Yeah, kind of like Buffy. Not really, but so let's just dive in. The first thing I want to talk about, I mean, it's I think we should talk about Stonewall. I think we should get in on that first because I think it's the movie that none of us saw.
Yeah,
and I want to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Let's say that nobody's seen it.
None of us have seen that movie, but we want to talk about it. So and some interesting information is some.
Man, I've got certain information, all right? Certain things have come to light, and...
So I'm gonna let Robby. He's the one who found these facts, these interesting facts. So I'm gonna let him take it away.
Yeah. Like I said, haven't seen the movie. Don't have an opinion of it. But I was looking into it, doing some research, whatever, and I saw a review that some gay rights activists actually spoke about of the movie, and I quote, they said, "This film is no credit to the history it purports to portray." So, I mean,
yeah. I think it's funny because I like when I set out to build a list of movies to do this show about this second episode, I was going off of IMDb ratings and just kind of like not only that, but the like things that I've seen in the media and things that would strike me as something I'd want to watch. Like it's just out there, you know. And like I told, you know, we were talking earlier at dinner, me and Robby, about how like the difference between me and Robby is like he still has he has cable.
Yeah.
And I don't have cable. I have Netflix and chill. No, but I have Netflix and I can pirate movies sometimes. Mostly pay for them.
Edit that part out.
I didn't get struck by lightning, so.
Yeah.
But so that what that means though is that like Robby he still lives in that lovely era, the golden age of, you know, where you can just turn the TV on and something just happens
everywhere,
and you see movies.
I'll be flipping through channels when I'm bored, like say Family Guy's over and I don't want to go to bed yet.
Yeah.
I go find movie that's on, you know.
And you can see, but you can also see advertising that isn't targeted to you. You can just like flip to like Telemundo and see like a trailer to something that you would have never thought of. Yeah. But I don't get that. I get targeted advertising. So the kind of movie, going back to Stonewall, is I saw a lot of stuff, which is interesting because I'm not gay. Maybe I should cut that out.
After blatantly making that point.
But I
so we all hear it now.
Keep that in mind. I have it.
Sounds like you're Stonewall.
Hey,
yeah.
Gus, I'm straight. Believe me. But I saw a lot of advertising for this, and then you know, engaging like its metrics online. I was like, this seems like a subject worth talking about.
Yeah.
But none of us ever got around to watching it after, you know, obviously we all failed at not talking about Fight Club or doing our homework assignments. So,
well, I mean, and after, because I assume we've all seen at least the trailer of it, or multiple things about it. I think after seeing the trailer, at least, it looked like an interesting movie. You know, it had its action, it had, you know, the meaningful parts, it had the twists and turns, and everything that a good movie should have, and you know, so
and
it's
interesting.
Hellboy,
so
yeah, it does have Hellboy.
I think what happened was that Selma was made, which was a really good civil rights movie, true story again. and another studio was like, let's make our own Selma.
Yeah, they just jumped right to the punch.
Except it's like I said, it kind of just sounds like it's Rent without any catchy music at all.
Would you say it's 500? How does it go?
525,600 minutes. Yeah.
And nobody cares.
Nobody cares to watch 120 minutes of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so for FYI, I got 3.1 stars on IMDb, and
That's
it's
not
like
good.
still opening week, and
Got 1 star on Rotten Tomatoes.
I think
One-
Leprechaun 2 got more. I'm pretty sure.
I actually want to fact check this. Fact checkers. I don't know.
I bet
can't
it's at
type
least
that fast.
close.
But yeah, so I wanted to bring that up, especially because, and for the viewers, the hardcore viewers that are listening to this, because they can't view it, those hardcore listeners of episode 1 and advertisements, they saw that I advertised that I was going to talk about this movie, so there you go. We talked about it.
Yeah, done deal.
Now, so what I'm really, really excited to talk about, and more so than the headline main thing, Green Inferno, because we're there's a mouthful there. I think everyone has a mouthful for that. But I think even the Aborigines had a mouthful of human
Everybody.
flesh.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but the
A few mouths full.
I want to talk a couple mouthful, yeah. But I want to talk about Mississippi Grind. I want to talk about the underdog in Hollywood right now. That's my opinion of this movie. It's an underdog movie, and I just want to point
it's
out
under the radar for sure.
It is.
And Robby hasn't seen it yet. So
I have not
he's
seen
just
it,
like everybody else,
unfortunately.
but he's missing
Yeah.
out. Is the thing.
That's what
He
I'm
was
feeling
given
like,
every
yeah.
chance.
I was given every chance to see this movie.
we gave
But
him because
Then
of
I
our
fell asleep at like 9 o'clock one night
yeah
when I was supposed to watch it.
our exclusive PR team hooked him up with pre-screening tickets
No.
to see this movie that were paid for.
That,
I didn't get struck by
yeah.
lightning again. I'm good.
I know. You and I know. I done goofed on that one.
Done
I
goofed.
apologize.
But the thing I want to bring up is that I was, I saw, again, talking about how targeted advertising, I saw a lot about this movie, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it, like, the first second IMDb put out a trailer, like, if for the super IMDb nerds, for people, and backtracking, for the people that don't even know what I'm talking about, Internet Movie Database, imdb.com. If you're listening to this and you don't know what that is, I don't even know how you found this show, but thank you.
IMDb is like the first or second site that always comes up on Google when you look up a movie
Yes.
next to
It is the
Wikipedia.
Google for movies.
Well, it's like
That's
IMDb
it.
and Wikipedia.
But
if
why
you use
would anyone
Google.
trust Wiki? Wiki.
I
Wiki.
always
Same
use
with Wiki.
IMDb. But
True story.
But if you look up Mississippi Grind on Facebook, and this is interesting because I never look at movies on Facebook. I don't like the pages that often. I see some people that do, but it's just occasional. It's usually
They
like an
usually
old
just
ass
post
movie.
a trailer and then
Yeah.
say, "Oh, coming out next week. Check it out."
But
And that's
I,
it.
I post the trailer from IMDb, so I'm not finding the page, but just in starting this podcast, I started to look a lot more places than I usually would to get information. And the interesting thing is Mississippi Grind, the verified Facebook page. We're talking about a movie with Ryan Reynolds in it.
The official page.
The official page.
All right.
It has 496 likes. That's not with a K or a couple triple zeros after that. Just 496. My
Shameful.
corporate video production company has more than that, and that's boring. Like, I mean, it should be exciting. You better fucking like my company if you listen to this. But
I think that's the kind of movie that I like personally, though.
It is.
It's the low budget kind of movie that is a surprise because you'll be like, "How did I miss this? Last year it came out. What? This is now one of my favorite movies."
I think that this is gonna be one of those that a lot of people are gonna, like just topple over a rock and find the Blu-ray. It's like kind of hidden
That's right.
Well, was it an independent film?
The thing is it went to a film festival first before coming out, and it's definitely not big budget because I know it only came out in select theaters. Me and you had trouble finding it a time to go see it.
Yeah.
So that tells you something. That it's no Pacific Rim, but it's twice as good.
Do you think maybe the reasoning for it not being so popular on social media like Facebook is because of a specific demographic that it's being targeted to?
I think it's just low
because
budget. That's it.
That's the big part about it.
Well, because I remember, like I said, or like it's clearly known that I have not seen this movie and I fucked up real hard because of it. But from what you told me, it's very much like an American classic movie, and I feel like it is just from hearing your explanation of it. And maybe the audience, it's trying to reach isn't the type of people that are on social media as constant as like maybe people like us who are younger folk.
There's two parts. There's two parts to that, and I broke this down the other day, and I'm glad that you brought that up. Is two things. The first thing, the demographic that I believe is going after this movie are people that are probably not like on Facebook. We're talking, mid 40s and older, because it is like it reminds me of Color of Money. It's a gambling movie. It reminds me of
I was thinking of Rounders.
Yeah, Rounders.
Honestly.
And actually, speaking of that, I watched Rounders today because you said that, and I've seen it before, but I watched it today.
One of my favorite movies.
Totally, yes, it's very similar to Rounders, but Rounders again is do you know why that, or what the backstory to Rounders was with it getting produced? Is that the director-writer shopped it around studio to studio. He was a first-time director-writer. He didn't have a project under his belt. What?
Miramax bought it?
I think so.
Well, before She's All That they were known as like the company that would take they took Clerks, let's just point that out, and made it a big movie. Something that should have never seen the light of day, honestly. But it's an awesome movie, and they saw that potential, and they did the same thing with Rounders and a handful of other ones. They make fun of it a lot in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
But the story about that movie is that he shopped the story around all these different studios, and they all turned it down. They all thought it was dumb. And then because and the number one reason that everyone was saying that is they're like, it's like it appeals to an older audience. It's an older movie.
Right.
It's, like you're out of date, you're out of time. And I forget exactly how it happened, but somehow like he did something. Fuck, I wish I remembered. He got it to where everyone was calling him, so he chose Miramax. Really, that's kind of how it went down, as far as I remember. But
it's kind of funny. You could tell that it was kind of like hurried up to get this out to the public, because if you look at the box cover of Rounders, not to dwell on Rounders too long, but the picture of John Malkovich is not at all what the character played by John Malkovich looks like.
Yeah.
He's got a beard in the movie. He's like a fat old-timey mafia guy. And he's just like a bald, clean-cut guy in a suit on the cover of the DVD.
No way.
It's what does he look like? Whatever, just get him on the page. Like, people will say, John Malkovich, and watch this movie right now.
That's funny.
I felt it was kind of like a mix of Rounders and kind of like a Good Will Hunting kind of vibe, especially at the end of Mississippi Grind, where it just everybody's changed at the end, and everybody has like a feel good parting of ways. Well, it's to wrap it up.
The thing that I loved about Mississippi Grind is that it's like it's totally bringing back in a good way, because I've seen this genre of movie go in a terrible direction with movies lately. Is the buddy road trip movie.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
That's nothing new.
Yeah. And they did it in a way that it isn't new. It's very much the simple plot line is like, you and me gel. We should go across the country to solve a very simple issue that we could solve here, but we have to go across the country to solve it.
We could get jobs and pay off this debt, but no, let's go on riverboat gambling trips.
Let's make a movie out of it instead.
Well, I thought it was interesting because I really have had a hard time with Ryan Reynolds on Green Lantern. I just was like, oh, I can't pay for this guy to have a career anymore.
Well, I think Green Lantern was kind of like an exception to his career. I feel
but
like
Deadpool
personally.
looks like it's the most perfect movie
But
for this guy.
Did you see in the Deadpool trailer where he knocks on Green Lantern?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where he says the whole
the animated
give me a mask that isn't green and animated or something like that. Yeah, I thought that was great.
That's perfect.
Anyways.
But I've had a hard time seeing him as anything but like the funny, kind of comic relief like he was in Blade. Waiting. He's everybody's favorite part of that movie, but can he be that character in every movie? No. And Mississippi Grind kind of proved that because he is like a little silly, but he acts in this movie.
I think that what was interesting is I feel like the direction that was given to him is like be Tom Cruise.
He's Rain Man, you're Tom Cruise. Let's go.
Yeah, he has that element about him. He has that kind of like that charm, this Tom Cruise-ish charm, but it's Ryan Reynolds, which is funny,
And the Ben Mendelsohn, he's the secondary. Well, actually, he's technically
he's the
first
main
character.
guy.
He's the main character.
Top build.
He's a great actor, and he's been in The Dark Knight Rises. He
Excellent.
was in Slow West. He's been in quite a few movies.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked up on IMDb. He just got a part in the first Star Wars spin-off, Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
So he's getting places for sure. But what's really cool is he sounds so authentic. He's not even American. He's Australian.
Yeah.
And he has like more of an American accent than you or me.
Oh my god.
It doesn't sound fake. It doesn't sound like Gerard Butler in Liberty Has Fallen. Religious Has Fallen.
Speaking of his authenticity, that's the thing the part that I loved about this movie is that the two characters had and this is when mastery of writing comes into play. Is it you had these two characters and in very little amounts of time between the two and very little dialogue, you were able to feel an immense depth to both of them, and they didn't have to talk. That you saw their strengths and weaknesses kind of just in their actions.
It was like a poker game, really.
Yes.
It's kind of funny because it's like kind of ironic that he's listening to poker tells in his car because he's trying to be a good poker player and pay off all his debts. That's what this whole movie's about. He's trying to pay off his debt. He meets a guy that's real lucky at gambling, doesn't care about winning. His life is about the journey, going from casino to casino. He meets a guy that needs to do that, and that's where he connects. And I thought that was what was really interesting. They kind of, like you said, they kind of flip-flop each other. So they complement each other, and then they end up making each other better at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and because I had to describe the movie to Robby earlier, and actually he brought up something that I didn't even realize kind of in my description to him. And, tell me if you think this, is the characters, both of them went through a character arc. And if anything, they both almost switched roles towards the end of the movie. Like Ben Mendelsohn he found himself, and he found that the journey was more important.
Absolutely.
And then Ryan Reynolds was like, he was thinking about the fucking Cadillac and about the money in the end. So and one of the things I did want to bring up, my favorite line from the whole movie, and obviously I think you're thinking the same thing, is it's Machu Picchu time.
I was thinking that too, and that's what hit me. That's what made me think that they switched parts, because he laid that on Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds has been so used to saying that to everyone his whole, what we assume, life, his adult life. That's his go-to thing, and he's like, oh. That's what made me think of Good Will Hunting, when Ryan Reynolds, or when Robin Williams finds the note at the end and goes, damn, that's my line. That's what did you think? This might be kind of stupid, but they keep referencing to Hawaii and the rainbow, and that's like their sign in the movie, like the whole time. I mean, if you notice, if you watch it again, like characters that aren't important to the story, people in corners are wearing rainbow colored shirts.
It was everywhere. Yeah, it was haunting them.
And I don't know, was there some kind of thing that maybe at the other end of the rainbow there was a pot of gold. Technically, there was.
I think that there was it was a double meaning. There was like a meaning that kind of like played on what the movie was about, which is like that, you know, the whole theme is that they were going to find their pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But the other part about it is that, you know, the whole life's a journey thing,
right,
is that you can, in real life, you can never find the end of a rainbow.
Right.
You're never going to get there. It's not there, you know. So that's the journey. Is you're chasing something that
I thought that was pretty interesting. At first I was like, why do they keep saying that? Why is Hawaii? They're in Mississippi. What the? Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of funny because people in, like, they'll be eating in a restaurant and some guy in the corner will have a rainbow shirt. It's like the funniest thing.
And he lost his money, or he won towards the end of the movie when Ben Mendelsohn was like he lost all hope. And yeah, he put that $100 bill. All he had was a $100 bill. He put it in that what do you call it?
The craps.
No, well, craps came later. But
you're talking about the poker game.
It was digital poker or something.
Right.
But it was a rainbow on the machine.
That's right,
it was a rainbow poker game. So it was another sign.
He does that like at the poker game. The Rainbow Warriors won, and he's like, "Wow, I should have bet on that game."
I think, like, you know, there's two different ways you could look at the whole pot of gold rainbow situation. Is like, yeah, they hit the jackpot, got the pot of gold, or like when they had kind of like the role switch and then he went on his own journey. Maybe that was the continuation of searching for the pot of gold in the endless search following the rainbow. You know, it's
an underdog. You know, it's a movie that just flew right under the radar, and yet it has some of the best writing in years. I've never, like, how is it that we're able to have such a conversation just pulling this apart and like questioning ourselves? Like,
the only thing that was obvious was like, this has a beginning, it has a problem, and like every script does, but you couldn't really tell where it was going, and that was kind of the beauty of it. Like, you know, like when it's at the hour and a half mark, like, okay, the movie's probably gonna end in the next 20 minutes here, but you don't know, like, they keep going up, they're down, they're friends, you have no clue.
It definitely had like a TV salesman. I know this sounds really random.
I was gonna say the ShamWow guy.
The guy before him.
Oh, Billy Mays.
Yeah, it had a very Billy Mays commercial. It had a Billy Mays commercial-esque to it because it was like, but wait, there's more. Like, you thought it was over, but there's more, baby.
Billy Mays wrote this movie before he died. May he rest in peace.
He croaked right as he finished the last line.
Is actually a Grimer remover.
Mississippi Grime remover.
Sponsored by OxyClean. Same owners.
Oh man, you see, and that's why I love the movie, because there's so much we can pull from it.
I really like that kind of movie more than anything. I'm excited to see a Star Wars movie. I'm excited to see Pacific Rim, but I know how they're gonna end. So eventually I get really tired of it, and I need a movie like that to break the monotony, because that's all a big studio will ever make, because that's all people will ever really watch.
Well,
and this kind of proves it. And,
it's just it's financially sound. Studios are getting back into what happened.
It's a formula, is like what I like to call it, and usually ones that break the formula don't do well. This movie hasn't done well. It doesn't mean it's not a good movie. A lot of them aren't good movies. They're crap, but this one broke the mold, I thought.
The interesting thing, and you know, we're still only like 4 years into this rut, I would say, in terms of like Hollywood like material that's coming out. As and I was saying this about this podcast, is it's long form content. It's intended to last beyond the time. So if someone looks up, you know, Green Inferno, which we're still going to talk about, people, don't worry. If someone looks up, you know, that movie and they're interested in it, even though they've never seen it, and this is a year, 2, 3 years from now, they'll find this and they'll be able to listen to it. And the same, but the interesting thing is that I think if you look at if you look at the gross sales of a an Avengers movie, well, I mean, I don't know, Avengers is pretty fucking good, even though it's like cookie cutter,
the beginning of that one just was
but
rocky.
But if
language.
Here's a good example. Like, I'm still excited, and to look ahead a little bit, I'm excited for Point Break, the remake. I'm
struggling.
As much as I love Point Break.
I saw another preview for it though that made it look a lot better.
Yeah.
But I have trouble with remakes alone.
Here's what I gotta say. When Point Break comes out, because it's a remake, even people like me and you, even if we're like anyone, it's almost like Howard Stern. They're like, this is dumb because it's a remake, but you're gonna see it because you're curious, but. That's right. A regular original movie, even if you think it's dumb, you don't get that effect. You're not curious if it's dumb. You're like, I'm not going to go see it. But what I'm saying is that the sales, it's going to be top box office. You're going to make a ton of money. You're going to make all your money back right away.
I hear you. I disagree with that point on Point Break because it's going against Star Wars.
Yes.
I could be crazy, but
it's a bad example, but the point is there.
And the thing is, Marvel, that phase is almost over. DC just starting again. Batman versus Superman, another Superman plus Aquaman and Wonder Woman. That's 8 years down the road. We got big blockbuster movies.
But what I'm saying is that all of those big blockbuster movies are gonna break the block. They're gonna bust the blocks of the blockbuster. The blah blah blah. the box office.
Box office.
They're gonna get good numbers in the first through third weekends, but there ain't gonna be no Titanic. They're not gonna stay in theaters for months on end, and then like movies like Mississippi Grind are gonna be these nice little pieces of gold that people are gonna continue to find for years and love for years. It's gonna be a classic. It's gonna be something that people are gonna.
Where this is a movie people will go back to, people will want to see again, people will find down the road. Whereas you see a movie where you already know what's going to happen, you're going to go watch it because A, you either like what it's about, B, you already you know what it's about, and you want to see what you want to know already.
It seems like
but you're not going to go back and see it again and again and again, because once you go do it, you got your fix. You go see like a comic book movie to get your fix of comic book stuff for the time being, because that's why there's so many coming out too all the time, I feel like. But everybody already knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It seems like anything that's not like a blockbuster Hollywood can become a classic, and that's kind of the beauty of it now, because what they used to call it was like a cult following. Clerks, cult movie, but that was before this rush of everything comic book. Even if they're not comic book, they're comic book. So a movie like Mississippi Grind could just become, as long as it's good like it is, if it gets a following, instant classic. You won't get that with
what I think is that, like, say the next big remake movie is a blockbuster success. It makes $200 million in the box office nationally, right? And then another $200 million international or whatever. So it's $400 million that they made. Plus they had to spend, which we'll get into this about Green Inferno. They had to spend, a fuck ton to make the movie because it was a big blockbuster. So you spent $200 million to make the movie. So you just had to destroy the freaking box office just to break even. And then you spend a whole other, like, we're talking $30, $40, $50 million on national ad campaigns, including like what I was getting at with Mississippi Grind. The difference between Mississippi Grind on Facebook and the Green Inferno on Facebook, I guarantee you, is the dollars, the money.
That's it.
Because
it's all about advertising.
Because the Facebook page for Green Inferno is through the roof insane. Not only because of the money, I think it's because the demographic is for like people that are like, 16 to like 25, and then obviously the Mississippi Grind is like, we're talking 45 to practically retirement home, but
a lot of grandmas out there.
But so
I hope that younger people could appreciate a movie like that, because
I think they can.
It's just going to be the movie Idiocracy incarnate.
I think, you know, and I can... This can be related to music as well. Like, the movies that are made, and they're kind of like going against the grain of everything. I feel like in the long run, as long as it's done well, as long as, you know, it has a proper plot, proper everything, and, you know, good acting, good storyline, it's going to do well, but it's going to be more prosperous in the end than it will be right now. But the movies that are kind of in the same vein as everything else that's bumping right now, you know, that are made to play it safe, they're going to do great right now, but then there's going to be something that replaces them 6 months later.
Yeah.
If even that long, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe Mississippi Grind might even see, like, a remake in 10 years because it became such a...
Well, the truth is
American
that the DVD
classic,
sales could make or break a movie, honestly. Like, that Mississippi Grind, who knows, could make a ton on DVDs. Didn't have to put anything out to put it in theaters.
Yeah. So it's not about the value in terms of the big number, but like the amount of money it took for you to make the money. You know, right. So if a company could make a very, like you said, Robert Rodriguez style, very cheap, good movie, like I'm not sure how much Mississippi Grind cost to make, but I'm sure it could have been made well under $50 million.
That, you know, Ryan Reynolds did not get a quote.
Well, he's taken a dive. That's another thing. Is if you look at his career, lately.
I think if he didn't have Deadpool lined up, he could have spent a couple years without anything. Like, Selfless was a very safe movie.
Mm-hmm. Woman and Ghoul was just after Mississippi Grind, and that was like that was just another. That was like an older style Ryan Reynolds movie. And I didn't see it, but I know that just by watching it, it's like I feel like when did this movie come out? You know, but it just came out.
I'm thinking back now, and I think he just does movies like this whenever he feels it's going sour, because to prove that he can still act. Because he had a good run, and then he did that movie Buried, which he got paid nothing for. He's in a box the whole time.
Yeah. I love that movie, though.
But
other people
it was great. It had great acting. You can't say it didn't. Maybe it didn't have a great plot, but still, it said Ryan Reynolds is not just some schmo. He can pull off a performance.
He suffers from this like terrible disease of like being a pretty face. Like, and when you're a pretty face in Hollywood and you're a good actor, you have to you know, studios are going to call you up about these big pictures, and if you say no, you're going to lose your career. Yeah. So you have to do these big ones that are going to ruin. You're going to take away from the hardcore, you know, cinephiles like us that are like, what the fuck you doing, dude?
Sometimes you have to, you know, quote unquote, sell out to be able to do what you really want to do.
But
in the end.
is it, when I think of that and I'm like, that's his job. Is it really selling out? What else is he gonna do?
Yeah, and
I'm saying to the people that you know, pick it apart. You know, people like what we're doing right now.
Sure.
You know, if we want to be those guys, we'd be like, oh yeah, they're selling out. You know, by doing a movie like that. But it's not really selling out.
Yeah.
It's them making the right move for their career at the time and doing what they need to do to get to the next level.
That's
that's what fans need to remember.
But when you think about, and another, it's funny you say that, is, and you know how I was saying about this podcast is when, you know, it's hard to, when you're not like an artist or an artist of any kind, when you're thinking about doing some kind of like artistic work, you think this way, like we're thinking the big picture. But when it comes down to the day of and you're doing it, like we're sitting here recording this right now, like, are we thinking about the big picture of our words, or are we just like thinking in the moment? So like when Ryan Reynolds like meets with his agent and his agent gives him a script for fucking Deadpool or X-Men, he, what is he doing? He's like, this is fucking cool, like in a different way than the other thing. He doesn't see, especially because he's not the fucking director, he's not the producer, he doesn't see what the picture's gonna be.
And all the directors on those movies do not get final cut.
Yeah,
so
it's just
the studio's movie, no matter what.
It's diluted. Almost everything is super diluted now, and even the good movies. I would even go so far as to say that I'm pretty sure Mississippi Grind is diluted from the original great material that it probably was, but it's still great.
On that tangent, you know what movie wasn't diluted? I just came to find out. The Green Inferno. That is the director's cut. No MPAA take backs.
That's all.
Well, let's get into the Green Inferno, anyways, because I think that we need to get there.
X-Men.
Anyways, so Green Inferno, I didn't like it, and I think this is gonna be a beautiful argument that we're about to have.
I think this is going to be a good discussion.
And
for sure.
and this is funny because we walked out of the movie. It's only been like an hour, if this show's been going on for more than an hour, then it's been more than an hour.
How many people? Speaking of that, how many people did we see walk out while we were in the theater?
I saw midnight showing.
Oh yeah, a ton of people left.
10 people during of the 10 people, 2 left, so 20% of the people. You know what I mean?
We maybe had I'd say 30 people in the theater. Mm-hmm. I saw, I think, about 5 or 6 walk out.
Yeah, and in weird times too.
Yeah.
There was a guy right in front of us. Which, by the way, I couldn't keep my mouth. And that's the sad part.
And then he changed seats.
I couldn't keep my mouth shut because I wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah,
I wasn't.
That was our fault.
And the part I didn't like the most is that it was just the dialogue. I felt was very, very, it wasn't labored over. It was just kind of lame.
If I go to my notes, because I made some notes.
You wrote some notes.
The second note I wrote was cheesy lines from the basic bitches.
Yes.
That was the second note
everything stateside was cheesy and basic.
Yeah.
He's like, are you going to eat that raw right now?
I did not like it, but this is not... It was not his masterpiece. But I'm happy about this movie because this is... As far as artists go, this was the thing for Eli Roth. Mm-hmm. So to go into as short as I can make this history for the Green Inferno, there was a movie in 1980 called Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah.
And this movie was banned in many countries. It's about a guy trying to find his colleagues in the Amazon. Oh, this movie was going to be called The Green Inferno. Fun fact. Didn't get that. And he goes over stock footage. This is about this professor trying to find his students, and they're in the Amazon, and it looks, even today, it looks good. And it was so good that the director got arrested because they thought this was a snuff film. There's people getting chopped up and eaten by people in the Amazon. And it's fun because it's so far away. It's not a close up where you could go, "Oh, that's fake." It looks real.
Yeah. And
it looks like something you saw on National Geographic. Honestly, besides the rape and murder and eating of people. But he made the actors in the movie sign a waiver. You can't come to the media for a year, so it feels like these people are gone. That's how they marketed
That's cool.
it. And this guy pretty much got free marketing because of all the
they couldn't get in touch with
about
anybody.
it.
Yeah.
And he had to bring 3 of the actors back. He's like, "Hey, I don't want to go to jail for the rest of my life. I didn't murder anybody. They're alive. I promise."
That's
crazy.
sick.
Eli Roth saw this movie, and this was the movie that made Eli Roth want to become a director. And if you watch, if you look at stills from behind the scenes of Hostel, you will see Eli Roth in Cannibal Holocaust t-shirts and stuff while he's behind the camera. And in Hostel 2, there's a scene where one of the guys, the people that kidnap people in these Hostel movies, this guy is eating one of the guy's legs, and that is the director of Cannibal Holocaust. So that was his idol, and he gets to put him in his movie.
That's
so
cool.
That's why I'm really happy about this, because it was this is the movie I want to do.
Eli's
this
dream.
is it.
Well, that's an interesting.
That's why I'm really happy, because you like it or not, this is the guy. He got to do what he wanted to do. He had the Hollywood dream.
And I gotta say, something I did like about the movie, very specific part of the movie, was when they got to all the gruesome, really brutal parts, was there's so many movies that are quote unquote scary movies or thriller movies out that have been coming out recently within the past several years, where it's like, okay, you've got somebody coming after you and they're trying to kill you, or you got somebody coming after you and they're trying to possess you or scare you. But it's like, all right, that's been done so many times. Who's gonna take it to the next fucked up level of being like, okay, we're gonna kidnap you all, take your fucking friend, and cut all of his limbs off in front of you and eat his eyeballs. Yeah. And when I saw that, it's funny because literally last night I was thinking about that. I was like, there's so many movies out where it's just like, somebody's going after somebody just to kill him. Who's going to bring it to the next level? Who's going to fucking step it up and make it really brutal and crazy and really put a twist on it? And then I saw that movie, and tonight I saw that part. I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking about last night. That's sick. I'm really glad that he did that.
It's an interesting,
was
like,
really
new...
ironic.
That was like the only... I'm pretty sure, like, after that, the MPA would have been like, no more, dude. That we can only have one good chop upper scene, and that's it.
And that's the thing is, like, I'm not saying I'm the type of person that likes to go cut people up, but I like seeing progression in a genre that is all the same shit over and over again, because like I said, everybody's just getting chased and killed or chased and haunted, and then what's new? You know, it's just the same thing over and over again.
Let me ask you guys this, because I think this would have changed my perspective on the film. I like I said, I think it's okay. I did like that part. Like, I was like, wow, I just went there. But I thought this was going to be the movie that topped Hostel, and it didn't.
Yeah.
The thing was the jokes. I was like, man, why it watered it down. When somebody's like, oh, hey, are you okay? And then like an arrow goes through their head, and you're like, dang it! Like I was like, I know Eli Roth was like having fun with his movie.
You know what's funny is that you just now made it funnier than it was in the movie.
Yeah.
In the movie, like you said, it was just watering down like something.
No, you're absolutely right. I felt the same way. There was one joke that you and I both really appreciated.
What was that?
When they stopped in the boat to go take a piss or whatever.
Because that goes with it, I thought.
And then she got the machete, and then fucking Junie Junie from Spy Kids.
That's right, Spy Kids.
For the audience, they stopped to go to the bathroom. A character, the guy
they're
from
on a
Spy
boat
Kids.
in the
Amazon River,
and obviously there's no bathroom, so they stopped on the side to use a tree. And the main girl, she's going to go to the bathroom. They give her a machete.
Well, the boat captain like handed the guy. He started to hand the guy a machete, and he's like, "What do I need that for?" And then the guy's like, "For snakes."
And he's like, "Oh, I can wait."
Yeah.
And then she takes it. She goes, and she's like, "Oh, well, do you have another one?" And then he hands him a gun. And then I think that was actually pretty clever.
And I was watching the Cannibal Holocaust movie, and it's just like, this movie was just full of like callbacks. They both have a scene in the beginning where it's like a pan of the Amazon, and then they both have a tarantula scene. They both have people with spikes going through them. Like, so it was definitely.
By the way, when the pilot like gets mutilated in the crash,
that was okay.
God.
That was brutal. But like any more than that, I was like, this is just. Some of it was like when the girl took like an 8-minute shit in the corner. I was like, man, you were doing so good.
Did you notice? Well, really quick, because I know what you're gonna say, but did you notice how when you heard the shit, it sounded like it was going into a toilet bowl with water? Did you notice that?
It was flushing.
It sounded like
away from this movie that
it sounded like he found like a clip online of like diarrhea sounds.
What I was gonna say about that is that when it was happening, I looked over at Robby and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding?" And then all of a sudden I'm like, "Well, he is covering a fact that we never cover in movies,
because you never see people go to the bathroom
when they're captive. They're not shitting."
I felt like it could have been like, oh, gross. It didn't have to be like.
They took it to the next level.
Freaking Jerry Lewis comedy.
Well, he took it to the next level. It goes along with eating eyeballs.
Well, he took everything to the next level, and I want to say within a 10-minute span, you had this chick with massive diarrhea, and then the same chick, I think, she she said she was a vegan, and then she ended up cutting her own throat.
Another joke.
And then they looked over.
Yeah, well, that was like a really cheap joke. You know?
But right away after the girl's suicide, they look over and like the main dude is like jerking off. And he's like, "What the fuck are you doing? He's jerking off!" Like,
then he chokes him and he's like jerking off.
Yeah, he just kept choking.
Like, and that I did kind of laugh at, but
he was choking the chicken while getting choked.
There was too many of those, and I was like, "This is gonna be Eli Roth's masterpiece." It wasn't to me.
No. And I feel like
that was why. Would you have liked that movie?
What's funny is
all those stupid things were left out or put with something serious.
I think if it was a super serious movie, which it appeared to be in the trailers,
and it was until that stuff started happening.
I think what ruined the movie for me personally is up until they got into the Amazon and got captured. Everything prior to that ruined it for me. I already had a bad taste in my mouth because of the whole college part.
I liked it
because the dialogue was, in my opinion, it's just
Miss Bad Acting,
yeah,
the roommate or whatever. But I was like, this is leading up to it. I was like, oh, here we go. When it goes into like female genitalia, I was like, or mutilation, I was like, well, I wonder if this will happen. I wonder if this will be at the end, and boom, was I right?
Yeah. But that's what I felt that like, and this only what you were saying, the backstory to this whole thing having to do with Cannibal Holocaust, it makes sense. It's validating what I thought. Is I feel that Eli Roth wrote this. By the way, for audience members out there, if you're having trouble imagining who Eli Roth is, he's the Bear Jew.
Inglorious Bastards.
Actually, we're all tickled to hear you say that. Quite frankly, watching Donnie beat Nazis to death is close as we ever get to going to the movies. Donnie!
Yeah?
Guy's German here wants to die for country. Oblige him.
But yeah, I think that he rushed because he was so excited and so inspired by this, and I think he rushed through the exposition. He was just like, let's get to the fucking meat of this story, and he didn't spend any time or take any care of the build-up, of the establishing to get to it.
And see, the thing is, Cannibal Holocaust had the same thing. It was like a build-up, but it was way more interesting, and he failed to do that. He was laying breadcrumbs, but only a couple of them were ones you wanted to follow. You know, like I thought that was perfect. Like leading in, oh, this is how people are killed in the Amazon. Okay, foreshadowing there, and then then it goes into like, hey, I'm Captain Friendzone. I mean, it's not racist. The black guy didn't die first, but he died the worst. Like,
he did. Oh my god!
I was like, oh, and that's when somebody started to leave. He's like, oh, the tongue too. Dang it!
Yeah,
that chick had a nice, hefty, raw meal. She made sushi out of that black guy's face. Oh man!
I was like, oh, what the heck? That part made me cringe.
Yeah,
like,
that was
hard. And he was still alive. Oh,
all the way
I
to
was
fucking end.
Watching the credits at the beginning, and I was noticing some other real good names. Produced by Jason Blumhouse. I guarantee, find like 10 movies that were somewhat successful in the horror genre in the last 3 years. You'll see his card. He made Sinister and As Above, So Below. So he like takes like horror movies that shouldn't have happened. Like, probably nobody wanted to pick up this idea from Eli Roth, and Jason Blum's like, do it, let's make some money. But then Greg Nicotero, he has had his hands in every special effects. Probably the one that most people would know is Walking Dead. He's the guy that does that. And he did the Hitler scene in Inglourious Bastards.
Nice.
He's like the top of the line. Like, he probably made more than any actor in that movie. Guarantee it.
Yeah.
But that's what I thought was pretty interesting. Just going into that, I was like, oh, that must mean there must be some awesome things.
Yeah.
And it was pretty believable, that guy getting chopped up.
I mean, I hate to be this guy, because usually when I watch movies, I'm a movie guy, and when I watch stuff, I generally read the titles in the beginning. I read the credits, and but this time I was like, I felt like this movie was more old school. It gave us every fucking title before the movie even started, and I was like, just get to something. I'm just looking at the rainforest.
That's what it was. It was a callback to the other movie. It was the same, it was like a 5-minute thing, like it was like a MASH
great
intro,
music.
pretty much for like 8 minutes. But that's all it was. It was just him doing the same thing.
Very cool title sequence, though. If anything, someone that was the one little like note from the studio. They're like, okay, we know you want to do this boring fucking callback to Chronicle Holocaust, but let's make the titles look cool.
You know what? In the Cannibal Holocaust, it was like nice music, and then it turns into like a John Carpenter, like, you know, the Halloween pianos behind it, and this movie didn't, and I thought that was like the music. I don't know if you noticed. I thought maybe you probably would, but it was like really strong. Like the whole, even when they're just sitting in jail, it was like something's coming.
Yeah, I was trying to pay attention to the score throughout the movie as much as I could without not knowing what's going on. You know, because a lot of the times when there's a lot of music going on, it's kind of like my brain. I can kind of focus on like one thing or the other and tear it apart, but I thought the score, you know, the creativity of who scored it is, I forgot his name, but I thought he did a really good job. I liked his instrument choice. I thought it was very authentic with, you know, the surroundings of the Amazon and Peru and all that and the styles. I loved the ending credits orchestration he had. The only thing I didn't like was I thought that there was music put in inappropriate places, and there wasn't music in places where there should have been music to make the scene a little bit stronger or hold a little bit different emotion and a little bit.
There wasn't much in the plane crash, if I remember. I was like, that would have been a
noise.
perfect, like, yeah.
There could have been a lot more, and I feel like there were a lot of parts where it seemed like it was kind of cheesy, or it was just like, really, like, you know, you just did that. If there was kind of like some sort of like undertone melodies or something like that could have completely changed the vibe of what you're feeling in that certain part.
The only time it didn't have music that I thought was good was the part where they're actually like preparing a meal, and like it seems like normal, like me or you would put like some Ore-Ida fries in the oven and be like, all right, pinch of salt. They're like preparing a head, and this lady's singing her version of Old MacDonald while like, and there's no music behind it. It's like,
I think he was trying to make it seem like it was on like National Geographic or something.
It
just
definitely
life for them. Another guy.
Yeah, he didn't. He put you in the cinematic feel when you needed to, but then he took you out of that and made you feel like kind of awkward, like that you're like, I'm looking at them eating
people.
Humans. Yeah, and it's just so normal every day. Like when they were all high, all the villagers got high, and like the main guard guy's like poking like a foot or a hand that's just hanging.
It's the arm.
It's just
got high off of like a really tiny amount of weed.
Yeah.
The whole village.
Oh yeah. By the way,
it was
I gotta say that Eli Roth doesn't know anything about marijuana apparently, because you can't get a village of like 300 people high off of like a gram and a half.
Like,
that was the only joke I liked in that movie. It was like, oh shit, they have the munchies.
That was good.
People to give that to. They eat people.
I like the Scooby Doo.
Oh, and here's I wrote a note. I was looking at, because you wrote notes too.
Yeah.
I wanted to look back at my notes that I wrote, because there was a line in the movie where the main activist was like he was severely wrong. Because he initially thought that the what are they, the villagers or whatever, that they thought they were the enemy. It's like, why are they doing this to us? Like, they think we're the enemy. And then, but I was like, no, they think you're the fucking chicken nuggets that we're about to eat. That's what they think you are.
Else beyond that.
Yeah, so you're just food, dude. And
because they just were fighting the people that were their enemies. It shows it. It was like the worst version of Lord of the Rings, where it's just 5 people against 5 people, you know, and they were just killing them. They wouldn't eat them. Yeah. But I thought what I was expecting, because Hostel had this, was like a strong ending, and it wasn't there. The revenge scene is like what everybody thinks of in Hostel. The guy gets back at everybody. She kind of escapes and is like, help, and they're like, okay.
Like, all right, well,
I think that the main girl.
There's a helicopter right now. There you go.
I think that the main girl's escape when she had the opportunity to like save the guy. Sorry, spoiler, kind of.
Yeah.
She could have made. There could have been a strong dialogue there. She could have been like, "Ha, fuck you," and just like gone off or something, done something weird. You know?
Yeah.
But no, nothing.
One thing I thought, because then at the end of the movie it had like her whole situation where she's being interviewed by her dad and the lawyers or whatever. So I think what Eli Roth was kind of going for as like the whole vibe of the movie, like what the whole thing is about, like the meaning, is almost like people will fight for a cause even though it doesn't necessarily pertain to them, just for the sake of looking a certain way to the public. Because she went through.
Was that what it was?
Well, that's what I thought, because she went through all that shit, everything she did, those crazy village people, you know, eating her friends and stuff, and then she went back and said, "Oh, they were the best people ever. The bulldozer people were the bad ones.
Yeah.
And, you know, the people destroying the rainforest were the bad ones." So that's why I felt that way, but I wanted to see what you guys kind of thought about that.
Well, the opening sequence, when there's like the janitor hunger strike, I thought that was like Eli Roth saying, like, this is where we're at with first world problems. The janitors need $15 an hour.
Yes.
And, you know, there's people that they don't even have food. They're resulting to eating their own kind. You know, by the way, fun fact, there are no cannibalistic tribes in the Amazon. I think Eli Roth just wants to kill tourism. Don't go to Europe. Don't go to the Amazon. Don't go to a cabin fever.
So Eli Roth like had a really bad camping trip as a kid, and he's just taking it out on everyone else.
That's it. Yep.
That's great.
That's great. I just want to say that I thought it was funny that the main girl, like she was taking
his wife, by the way.
That's his wife?
I didn't know if you
Eli
knew
Roth.
that.
Okay, that answers my question, because I was like, she's been in like 4
sense.
movies, and so who did she fuck? Oh, makes sense. Eli Roth,
well,
the Bear Jew.
I don't know if you've seen the preview for the next one. It's called Knock Knock, his next film, and she's the bad girl with Keanu Reeves. Look it up, people.
So her two biggest movies are both Eli Roth movies.
Well, yeah, and then I was looking at the cast of Green Inferno, and everybody in that movie was in this movie he produced called Aftershock. It was like a foreign film, I think.
Yeah.
And then the dad was the guy that almost the friend of the guy that gets his dick chopped off in Hostel 2. That was the dad. I was like, he's like, you're a friend. Yep. We're gonna do movies together for the rest of our lives. Let's go.
One name I do remember seeing, or one list of names actually, and this is why I remember seeing it in the very opening titles. It said casting. And it was like 4 names, and it was like there was different crews for different countries because they shot in different countries. But I'm like, why was there a USA one if Eli Roth just casted the whole thing himself? It's like, yo, I'm gonna be the guy in the fucking Amazon.
Because he wanted. It's a good joke, but the thing was that what amazed him about Cannibal Holocaust was that there was cannibals in that movie. And a director somehow directed them to pretend to eat people and not eat them.
So those are real cannibals?
In the old movie. This
shit.
one, like I just said, there is no actual cannibal, but they were real people and like if you watch the trailer, it's like, these people have never been filmed before. We found these guys in that tree over there, and they said we'll be in the movie.
In that tree. Right?
I heard that he showed them a copy of Cannibal Holocaust, and like they just laughed. They thought it was a comedy because they never seen a movie before. But that was like the big feat for him, and I think that's where the casting was finding agreeable Aborigines, Indians, whatever, and
so was that an actual tribe then?
It was, to a point. Like there was some people that were like the guy was all black actor.
He just looked like he looked like someone who could be your lawyer. He's just like out of place.
Could you imagine?
I was really hoping he was Eli Roth.
He's like, "Baya." That's all he said. It was like the one line. Even in the boat, I was like, "Does that mean come?" It means everything. In the boat, he's like, "Baya."
He's like Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Like everyone else understand. Like, am I the only one who thinks he's saying the same fucking word? He's like a cat.
Even the dead girl, he's like, "Oh, we don't get to kill anybody." Baya. Then he chops up that girl. Oh, that part was pretty. I was like, I wonder if they're eating their friends. They are.
Yeah. I figured it wasn't just fucking pig meat.
Yeah.
I had to take. I wonder if I missed a part because I had to take a leak. I had a giant soda. Everybody thought that I was leaving the movie. I was like, no, I'm gonna pee. But
you reassured the audience, I'm not leaving.
The part with the lady, the hook finger lady, and she like tests all three women.
Yeah.
I left right after that, and I come back, and she's in the jail, and she's all painted. And I was like, did I miss? I hope I didn't miss any crazy gory scene.
Yeah, I feel like you did. I feel like there was a gap there.
No, he
large
didn't miss
gap.
it. They just
I couldn't have been gone more than 3 minutes.
Yeah, they just took her away, and they like painted her because she was.
Because like the next scene, it shows the girl's tattoos.
She was like on the rag or something.
And I was like, did they show her die? I don't know.
No, that was the great mystery of it. That's what made it interesting. Is
so
that,
I walked out the perfect time.
like the vegan girl. The vegan girl was like sipping her little juice, and then like the tattoo was in the fucking bowl, and she was like, "I fucking eat meat!" Just killed herself.
Exactly.
She just
they had some sort of romance either.
Where that lady gets chopped up because she was
she got chopped up without showing. Like they didn't show it.
I just want to say that the main chick, she was in a class in the beginning of the movie, and in the class they talked about these like African tribes that would, genital mutilation to their women.
As it's known.
What is it called?
FGM.
FGM.
Female genitalia mutilation.
She was talking about that. She was so passionate about like, why don't they fucking like do something about this? And it literally came back to bite her in the vagina.
And that's what I really like about Eli Roth is he finds like a simple idea that's been around for forever and like glorifies it. I think glorify is like the wrong word, but he uses it as like a scare tactic. And millions of directors have had this chance and nobody's done it.
Yeah.
And like I found out, he thought of Hostel because he looked on a website and he found a website where you could pay to shoot somebody in Thailand. And he's like, why don't we make this movie? And like nobody else thought of that.
You could pay to shoot somebody?
Yeah.
That's like a strange like life goal.
Weird?
Like I want to shoot someone and not get in trouble for it. Let's go to Thailand.
Yeah.
You can do anything there. You can order wives. You can eat cats.
What did they say in the Hangover movie? He's like, Thailand's got him now.
Oh, Bangkok.
Bangkok's got him now. What does that mean? That's what it means.
Yeah.
Ask Eli Roth.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we've. I think in the subject of Green Inferno, I think the Inferno has burnt out.
How many stars would you guys give it?
I would give it
out of 10.
I'd say the same thing that I said about Black Mass. Is I'd say go see it. It's interesting. It was worth the $10 I spent because I don't have any kind of ID to change.
If you're into that torture porn kind of thing, that was right up your alley. If you don't care about plot,
eating people.
I like to give it 3 out of 5, right in the middle of the road for me. I appreciate that this director got to do what he wanted to do, but I'm comparing it to his other movies, and it's right in the middle of the road for me.
I would say definitely, take 3 buses and a mule to go fucking see Mississippi Grind.
But don't do the same in the Amazon.
Yeah, don't go to the Amazon to get eaten by cannibals to see Green Inferno because it's not worth your bones.
Maybe there was a metaphor there, like for all
$10.
these tree huggers, like that's what you could be facing.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Yeah, all your friends, they're like, well, Bangkok got him now.
Bangkok's got him now.
No, the rainforest has him, and he turned into a fucking toothpick. So, not the kind like he's just skinny, lost a bunch of weight, came back on vacation.
And kids are playing with his skin.
Yeah.
Don't be in the friend zone. That could be another life lesson.
Yeah,
be the
don't get
first
friend
guy
zoned.
to get jacked up.
Yep.
They gave him a drink and he still felt all that pain.
Yeah, I thought they were like giving him a sedative.
Apple juice. He's like, thank you. What's going on? Kids are holding me down.
And that's like
I'm way stronger than all you,
300 pounds.
Talking about a way to like to instill like another interesting like sick thought in your head that makes it even worse is that the very first killing of the movie, they had like a bunch of children hold him down and the Mama Earth came over with her big fucking spike and just like shoot him.
Lady was that was a good villain.
Yeah.
I don't know what this person is capable of, but I'd be running. I think it just ended like that one chick did. Like, well, luckily she got it in one try, but with a bowl in her neck. If it was me, I'd be like,
a badass,
jacked up and like bleed for a day.
Yeah,
but
I just like I'd puss out halfway through, and I just have a nice scratch on my neck.
Ow, 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 ow.
But the thing is that she's like a clumsy girl the whole movie, and then this is like this very skilled, like just like you know when a badass in a movie like breaks a bottle over a table and like puts it at someone's neck. Like, she broke this bowl like it was nothing.
She
like,
suddenly has that weird like
so
ninja
fast.
Skill.
Yeah,
I almost like didn't realize what she did. I was like, she's
done. Dead.
That was easy. She lucked out.
Good
That's
stuff.
hilarious.
Funny.
All right. Well, I want to say in closing, I want to say, go see Mississippi Grind, and tell us what you think.
I'll go with you because I haven't seen it yet. Still.
Yeah. Somebody out there, go see Stonewall because we didn't, and tell us what you think.
We were stonewalling ourselves.
Yeah.
From watching this movie. Until somebody says something.
And I say, you know, pirate Green Inferno.
if you really have nothing better to do with your girlfriend or boyfriend or whoever, you know, and you want to go see some people eat some people,
looking to kill some time and some people.
I think it did pretty good on the shock for me. What do you think? Shock value.
Shock value. Yes.
Like I said
this week.
Like I said, it brought it to the next level with fucking eating eyeballs.
Great movie to take your date, your first date.
If you want to pull a prank on your mom, go see.
Bring your 12-year-old cousins. They'll never go to bed ever again. Final thoughts, anybody? What do you got?
Green Inferno, like I said, or like we all said, was go if you've got nothing better to do.
If you see a bunch of, sunburnt villagers, run the other way.
And when we say sunburnt, we mean literally the color red, like as bright red as can be. And then one guy painted all black with tusks.
You know, like lately, the last couple of years, I don't know if you noticed, around Halloween, not that many good scary movies. I think Green Inferno could be your movie this year.
Yeah. Nobody even really trick or treats.
I like to go see a scary movie on Halloween, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well,
there you go. Hopefully it hangs on.
Do it for Eli.
Do it for Eli.
Do it for Eli.
Book of Eli.
And in the great words of Ben Mendelsohn, it's Machu Picchu time. Adios.